Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Today's video we are going to add in some painfully simple armor and weaponry. As you can see here, I am woefully inept at modeling, so I didn't go too far in the way of crazy details, but obviously feel free to peel out and go bananas in this stage if you want. This video is a continuation of part 5, where we finished off the retopology of our character's body, so check it out if you haven't already. Okay, so before we add in my Fisher-Price armor and weapon, I'm going to go quickly through and add in some sculpting details to the body. You'll see as I tab into edit mode, my model turns to mush real quick, and that's because we need to apply the shrink wrap modifier first, before we can start sculpting in the finer details. So we will apply that. And then tabbing back into edit mode, I'm going to use mostly the crease brush and the inverted crease brush to tighten things up a bit and accentuate the lines to really lean into the stylized, cartoony look I'm going for. That's good enough for me. Now I'm going to add in some veins to really make this guy's muscles pop. Going up to the Draw Sharp brush, I'm going to press Ctrl to invert it, and then going to draw in some squiggly lines like this to give the illusion of a big vein underneath the skin. I'll turn off the sculpting symmetry here to up the realism a bit as well as I go down to the forearms. I'll also use the smooth brush, particularly on the ends of the veins, to kind of have them fade off a bit and not be too abrupt as they come up. I'll also use the same brush without pressing Ctrl to draw in some wrinkles around the knuckles. and then some more veins around the arms. I want the character to be on the more cartoony side here, so I don't go too far with adding micro details. But if you wanted to, this is the time to add in some stuff like skin pores, wrinkles, scars, etc. Let your imagination run wild here. Okay, now onto the armor. I'm going to start with the belt. I'm going to borrow the vertices from the retopology we did, so tabbing into edit mode. I'll face select the loop here. Press Shift D to duplicate, and then P to separate by selection. I'm going to remove the multi-resolution modifier here since I don't need that level of detail for the armor. Then I'll add in a solidify modifier and then scale it up a bit. I'll remove the skin material and add in another color. The belt is a little thin, so I'm going to select the top loop, press G twice for the edge slide, and then C to constrain and move them up like this. I do have X mirror editing on here to keep things symmetrical. Now I'm turning on snap to face and then adjusting the vertices here so the belt aligns better with the body. Now I'm going to select these faces and Shift D to duplicate to create a sort of plate. Not sure exactly what to call this. Then just more adjusting of vertices. Now I'm going to create a circle to make a sort of amulet for the belt. I'll press F to make a face, and then make a bunch of extrusions and insets to make a shape like this. Then I'll shade smooth and add a subdivision surface modifier. Now, I want it to have sharper edges throughout, and on that front it's looking a little rough, as you can see. So to give this object sharp edges without the need for multiple edge loops that complicate your model's mesh, we can make use of the bevel modifier. So let's add a bevel modifier now. Then move it up above the subdivision surface modifier in the modifier stack. I'll change the limit method to weight. I'm going to tab into edit mode, edge selection mode, then press N on my keyboard, and then select an edge I want to be sharp. Up to the item panel, and then here in the mean bevel weight, I will increase it to 1. You can see a little change happened on the object. Now I'm going to go through and select all of the other edges I want to be sharp here, and then increase the mean bevel weight for these selections to 1 as well. Big thank you to user Henry Grimes, who in the comments of another video gave me this tip. Not much has happened by the looks of it, but if I go over to the bevel modifier on the right now and lower the offset to something like 0.01, you'll start to see things sharpen up. And to make things even sharper, you can increase the steps to 2. Usually I don't need anything more than 2 or 3, and so that's one way you can have sharp edges without the need for complicated edge loops everywhere. Okay, onto the shin guards. Doing the same as for the belt, just Shift D to duplicate the faces, P to separate by selection, removing the multi-resolution modifier, adding in a mirror, solidify, and subdivision surface modifier, and also changing the material. Lather, rinse, and repeat for some wrist guards. To add some beveled edges to the armor, I'll do something similar to what we did for the belt amulet. A key difference here for the armor though will be making sure we tick the only rim option under the solidify modifier and then applying it. I'm going to press G twice, and then E and F to edge slide and align the edges here on the wrist guard. And then use the shrink and fatten tool to create a subtle indent. Then we'll do the same as we did for the belt amulet. Add a bevel modifier, move it above the subdivision surface modifier, change the limit method to weight, select the edges we want to be sharp, and then increase the mean bevel weight to 1 in the tools section of the side options panel of the viewport. Then I'm going to do the same thing for the Shin Guards. For the amulet, it's kind of floating right now off of the belt. So I'm just going to turn snap to face on and then select the edge loop closest to the belt like this. Then press G to move them back against the belt while in front view. Then I'm going to press Ctrl J to join them into one object. If you want the amulet to have a different color, go over to the material tab and click on the plus sign to add another material. Then you can tab into edit mode, press L to select the linked vertices here of the amulet only, and then press the assign button. Now I'm going to add a little detail to the armor by using the loop tools add-on. I'm going to start by adding in a control loop to the middle. Then I'm going to press G twice to edge slide this loop a bit to have the faces here be a little bit more evenly spaced and square. Now I'll select this middle vertex, then press Shift Ctrl B to bevel. Then right click and subdivide. Now I'm going to use the Loop Tools add-on, which you can enable up in the Edit Preferences menu. Don't forget to press Save. Now when you right click, you'll see a new item in the menu called Loop Tools. Select Circle. I'm going to press I to inset a bit, then E to extrude out. Now, the geometry here looks a little janky, and that's because you'll see we have some faces with 6 vertices. To turn these into quads, select these 2 vertices here and press J to join them and create a face. Now you can see you have quads. Do this all the way around. And now you'll see the geometry looks a lot cleaner. Now I'm going to make a weapon for this guy. Thanks to Baramon Dela Cruz, who in the comments of another video suggested I maybe go for a club as a weapon. So I tried to do something club-like. Can't say I succeeded, but it kind of looks like it would hurt, so I'll take it. Thanks again, Baramon. Nothing complicated here, as you can see. Lots of simple extrusions and insets and whatnot. Also using the bevel modifier to sharpen the edges like we did before. For the spikes, I just kind of stuck them right on the surface by using snap to face like we did for the amulet. To copy them around, if you don't have it already, go up to your overlay menu and enable your 3D cursor. To move your 3D cursor to your selection, press Shift S and then select Selected. Then we're going to change our pivot point by pressing the period button on the keyboard and then selecting 3D cursor. Now, when I press Shift D and then R to rotate, I can spin it around the club. I'll type 90 degrees for the rotation amount and then Shift R to repeat the last operation, which is the 90-degree rotation. Now I'm going to select the spikes and the shaft and Control J to join them. And that's it, there you have it. One way to add some simple armor and weapons to your character. You can obviously explore a lot here and add more details if you'd like. I'd love to see what you guys are coming up with, so give me a shout on social media, or join my newly created Facebook group to share your art and ask questions. In the next video, we will do some UV unwrapping to prepare for texturing and painting. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope it helped, and see you in the next one.